We are live and on the air. Welcome to OmniBros Live. My name is OmniDog. I am joined by my co-host tonight, Omar from Near Mid Condition. Omar, how's it going, dude?
Good, brother. Good to be back.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you. You held it together on Monday. Well done. You, Matt, and Nick. I saw the
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those guys are good guys.
Yeah, I was getting had the flu or something, and it's been a really crappy week. I've been at home, working from home. I need people interaction. I couldn't up until yesterday. I couldn't see my kids or my wife just to be quarantined because I don't want to get them sick.
Yeah.
When it's probably my kids that got me sick. But I did do a lot of reading, and I did do a lot of watching, and most of my reading came from this wonderful place called In Stock Trades.
InStockTrades.com.
That is correct. Where, by the way, this weekend, if you guys can't get out to a comic book shop, they are having a sale themselves. So for those people that can't get to a comic book shop for free comic book day, In Stock Trades is having 45% off I think all Image titles. Yeah. So it will be starting on Saturday, May 5th, all the way to Monday, May 7th. All Image titles are going to be 45% off. So if you haven't ordered any and you got any on your mind, there you go. 45% off. No code.
I should have known. I just ordered a bunch of Image stuff this morning.
Well, they said that you were the reason why they went ahead and did an Image sale. So they were like, "Oh, Jess already bought his like $100. We'll just make a sell based on that."
I believe I only got a couple of Image books. I think I got Coyotes, which I've been talking about with Luis, and then Nick has Nick and Kevin Kropp on the Omnibus group page have been talking about Rock Candy Mountain forever. So I decided to go and get those two trades, and I want to read those like right away. But okay. I had to strategically order today, so it would come like next Tuesday when my wife's at work, because this was a big order. I don't need her seeing that.
You know what you need, man? You need a middleman.
I do. I need to have it shipped to a friend's house.
You probably don't know this, but some of the guys that probably watch the show do. There is a service from Amazon Japan because me and one of my co-hosts on my other show, Near Mint Condition, we order some games from Japan that are exclusively made like in Japan, like collector's edition and stuff like that. You think I'm crazy about absolutes and hardcovers. Anyway, so sometimes they're exclusive to Amazon Japan, but you can't order from Amazon Japan and have it shipped to your house. You have to go through a middle service called Tenzo. And Tenzo, like, you pay them the shipping and stuff like that, and they will order it for you and ship it to your house. And it's pretty cool because, like, they had it, at least a couple years ago, they had it down where you can order at a precise time that it will arrive at your house.
Oh, that's what I need.
And that's what we need in America. Maybe you and I should go into business.
Yeah,
for people like you and I.
Yeah, exactly. I need it delivered between Tuesday and Saturday, 9 to 5. That's when I need it delivered. From InStockTrades.com, where you can get up to 50% off your favorite collected editions. Loyalty discounts add on to that, plus sales, like Omar just mentioned, 45% off on Image this weekend. Over $50 gets you free shipping in the United States. Fabulous customer service and fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
Now, was my plug not good enough for you, or do you just go around saying that every time you say the word In Stock Trades? Now you have to give
it sort of comes out whenever I say
give the whole spiel now. Like when you're talking to like muggles or normal people that your wife is friends with. Like,
right. Hey, dude, where do you get your books? Oh, InStockTrades.com, where you can get up to 50% off on your favorite collector's editions. Sitting there with a drink in my hand and fabulous customer service.
Of course, because you have a fabulous lifestyle. That's fabulous, right. Yes.
My martini glass full of club soda and a lime.
Hey, that alcohol money is well spent on omnis and absolutes.
That's really what it's going towards.
Oh, yeah. This is a good substitute, brother. All right, so today we're going to talk. What are we talking about? I mean, I've been out of it, man. Like I said, I watched the episode that you guys did on Monday. I watched the episode that my channel did today. Oh, actually, I'm kind of curious. My channel today, we did an episode on what is the most amount of money we spent on like one item. You would probably top. Yeah, you would probably top any of us. Like we're not considering like we didn't consider consoles because like consoles, I think everybody goes crazy when new consoles come out.
Oh.
You got to buy controllers, you got to buy a couple of games before you know you're spending like $1,500. But we justify it by saying, well, that's for the family. It's not really just for one.
I remember one Christmas I gave my wife a Wii U. And
Well done.
She was so underwhelmed. She said, because she and I played the Wii when it first came out. We played the heck out of the Wii when it first came out. And I gave her the Wii U, and she was so underwhelmed. She goes, this is not my Christmas present. This totally does not count. She was not having anything out of it. What's the most I've spent on one item? I haven't spent more than, I mean, probably a television or a car. Whoops, where'd you go? Oh, well.
I just booted. Wow, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a television before, you know, so that's...
Yeah, that's necessity, so. You can't live in America and not have a television.
Yeah, so are you talking like collectibles-wise?
Uh-huh. Like somebody, Felipe left a comment, like if I ever got into the sideshow statues, and I said, I purposely do not go to the website. I can't, like, because I have a collector's mentality. You see those, right behind you, the Jeffrey Scott Campbell statues, right?
Yeah.
I had the chance to get the Mary Jane one, but I know if I ended up with Mary Jane,
You'd need
I would
Gwen.
have to get Felicia and Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and those were out of print. They've been out of print for years. And I can't do that. Like it's insane. The amount of money I would spend would be insane. So anyway, that was our topic. I was curious. You don't have to do it right now. We can talk.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm thinking these were the first sideshow statues I ever got. I got them fortunately before they went out of production.
Yeah, because when they go out of production, they hardly reprint those, right?
They redid. Yeah, you're right. They put into production again Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman where she's got the sword, the spear behind her back.
Yeah, that's a cool statue. I like that one.
Yeah, they put that one back up, but I'm looking at what I have, and I don't know that and I've got some out in the other room. I don't know that they've ever. I think Wonder Woman might be the only one in my orbit that I know about that they have ever reproduced.
I know that you collect some of those high-end statues. But yeah, and that's what I don't collect because my basement is full of like so much Transformers and so much other stuff that, you know, $100, $200 mark, but you're talking like half $1,000 almost for some of those statues.
Yeah. I think these were all in the $400 range. Lady Thor might have been more than that. Zatanna might have been $450. Black Canary wasn't that expensive. I think Black Canary was like $4. And I will confess that Sideshow sent me a thing today and said, you have $150 in Sideshow credit, you know, from all the statues I bought. And I said I wasn't buying any more Sideshow things. And I go, $150? I can't let that go to waste.
That's like 1/10 of a statue.
Well, that was actually, it's half of the statue I wanted. I got my first Harley statue that from not Hot Toys, but that other manufacturer that's really good. Let me see.
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
I'm kidding, man. No, Hot Toys. I purposely do not go and see Hot Toys either. Because they have some gorgeous figures. Like,
oh yeah, they really do. Let me see what that was, because it was low on stock too, which is of course the big red flag for me. Like I oh say, my god, they're low on stock, and I have cash.
There's a Prime. You know who Prime Studios are? Anyway, they're huge.
Yeah.
Oh my god, those things. They have Guyver. They have Guts from Berserk. They have all these things that I'm like, oh my god, but they're so huge. I'm like, okay, there's no way I can put this anywhere in my house. Like they're the size of my kids. I can't do this. This is ridiculous. I need a bigger house. It's like George Carlin, right? We live in America. Right. And you buy shit, and when you fill up your house, you buy another house, a bigger house, so you can fill that house up with more shit.
Tweeterhead, that's who it's by.
Tweeterhead. I've never heard of those guys. What, they do high-end statues as well?
I don't know if this is high end because it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't $1,000. I didn't go there. I mean, I can even screen share and tell you what it looks like.
Look at you!
Show you what it looks like.
You bad motherfucker! All by yourself. All right, go ahead, big dog.
Let's see if I can do this right. Don't tell me anything. Screen share. Dee 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 dee. Do 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 do.
Ooh, infinite. There we go. Nice.
And there we go.
So it's the flame that's holding her up, huh?
Right. Yeah, from her jetpack.
Those things have to be so perfectly well balanced and like well weighed, the way that they're made. That a lot of the Japanese statues are like that. One little thing can throw it off on the weight, and it will start leaning on you. But that looks like it's got a pretty good, heavy base. You wouldn't have any worries like that.
I hope so.
So you ordered this one?
I did. Well, I had 150 in credit, and it was a $300 statue. So I thought,
yes. You don't have to. I'm not your wife. You don't have to. I'm your friend. Hell yeah, I bought that fucking thing.
Yeah, I bought it.
Nobody's gonna give me any lip over.
So yeah, this is what I got.
Okay, so let's get to the topic. We're gonna talk about Infinity War, right? I just found out about it a few minutes ago from Jess.
You saw it, though.
Yeah, but the first part, we're not going to spoil it. Is that what you want to do?
Well, I thought we could talk about, just in general terms, what we thought of the movie, without spoiling it, for 5 or 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, half hour, 25 hours, whatever.
25 hours.
Just our general thoughts on how it was presented, because I think it was. I'll just say I think it was an amazing accomplishment to get everybody ever in the Marvel universe, just about, except for Ant-Man and Hawkeye, in this thing. Am I missing anybody? Was there anybody else missing? Except for those two people?
I mean, there were a couple characters missing, which we can get to in the spoilers part of the talk, I guess.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I mean, and the movie's been out for just a little over a week. I know probably most people. Well, at least a week in America. Some European countries got it first. I don't know if it's been out in. Has it hit China yet? I know it had the biggest opening weekend of any movie. It beat out The Force Awakens.
Right.
So it's huge. And
I actually have something to say about that. About Disney putting out that tweet or Instagram post or whatever it was, having The Last Jedi or a Jedi congratulate Iron Man's hand. Did you see that? Where it was
it was from what's her name? Patty.
It was from Kathleen Kennedy.
Thank you,
from Lucasfilms. So it wasn't Disney patting itself on the back. It was Lucasfilms congratulating IW and Marvel for breaking the record. So.
Oh yeah, right.
I just wanted to clear that up. It wasn't.
Some people think it was Disney.
Yeah,
saying,
Disney going. Yeah, way good, dudes.
Okay.
No, it was Lucasfilm. So, I don't. Let's see. In the chat, it says China next week. UK got it last Thursday. I think Australia got it last Monday or something crazy.
Yeah, they got it before us, because I remember some people were posting stuff. I literally stayed away from the internet. Like, well, I was absent in a lot of the chats that you guys were talking about. Because this was a movie that I feel like I have given enough of my time that I was ready, because I read the comics. I know what is probably going to happen, but I still wanted to be shocked. And there were a few things that we'll talk about here in a little bit that actually surprised me from the movie. And go ahead. I'll let you talk about your feelings. Therapy session.
Well, I just thought it was an amazing accomplishment that it was so coherent and so cohesive and so interesting that all those superheroes could be in one movie. Because when I first heard about the Avengers movie, like the first Avengers movie, I thought, how are they going to even pull off getting those characters on there?
Okay,
You know?
so let's talk about that just for just a few seconds.
Okay.
And somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but Avengers, the first Avengers that came out in 2012 by Joss Whedon and Zach Penn, even though he completely threw away Zach Penn's script and he rewrote the whole damn thing himself, but Zach Penn still got credit. That was, I hate that guy. That's the guy that wrote X-Men Last Stand, remember? And
my favorite movie.
Yeah, you were an idiot. That was harsh. Sorry.
Yeah, wow.
I'm on medication. And you know, Daredevil, Elektra, all these really crappy movies that we won't get to talk about. But I think Avengers was the first movie of its kind where it took, you know, five different movies, right? Because you had Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, and Thor, and meshed all these characters into one movie. And they were still able to pull it off as a kind of an origins movie too, because you didn't need to watch those movies.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, I think that was the first movie of its kind. I don't.
What is going on with you tonight? What are you doing?
Has ever been made like that? I don't know. This thing just aired out on me.
Oh.
But like I was saying, I don't know if anything has ever been made like that in the past, where all these movies came together in one movie. And I thought that was really cool. And I didn't think that they would be able to pull it off again. Because you can't go into Infinity War without, you know, this can't be your first Marvel movie.
No, I totally agree with that. You need, for somebody, if this was their first Marvel movie, I think they were probably dramatically lost the whole way through it. But that's why I thought it was such an accomplishment to get all those characters working together. Even though they went off in their separate ways, it still could have been a jumbled up mess. It could have been, I mean, I'm not going to go into who was in it because everybody who saw it knows who was in it. But I mean, it had, you know, 5 or 6 different arcs going on at the same time, and they were all sewn together perfectly in one very understandable, very exciting, well written, well directed. It was just remarkable. It was a remarkable movie that all those characters could be in it. Whenever you get a movie with too many villains in it, like Spider-Man 3. There were just too many villains in that movie. I knew it was
wait a minute. The problem with Spider-Man 3 was beyond the villains.
Well, that's true.
Really destroyed the character of Venom. But anyway,
I've always felt like you just need one villain, and of course, there was just Thanos and the Black Order in this movie, so that was enough. But I've always thought if you get too many villains going on, like what was that Batman movie that had all the, you know, with George Clooney in it? I never saw it because I knew it would be awful.
Dude, I never saw it either. I thought I was the only one. Like, all my friends were like, how did you not see that movie? And I'm like, because I knew it was going to suck.
Yeah, because it had too many criminals in it, and it just dilutes it. But maybe that's what was great about this. It had one major villain in it with everybody working to stop him, and it was like clockwork. I just was amazed at it.
I thought it was... I'm going back to my comment about this being, if this was your first Marvel movie, would you be confused? Because it felt like, this isn't giving anything away, but the most screen time was shared between Thanos and Thor. And it kind of feels like we've been told for a long time that this was going to be a Thanos movie. And it really felt like it, because, I mean, he had arcs. He had things he had to do within the movie. He is throughout from beginning to the end of the movie. Like, the guy plays probably the major character. So I wonder if anybody that has, if this is their first Marvel movie, or I find that hard to believe. They're like, man, this Thanos guy, he's such a good guy. He's trying to do the right thing, and all these assholes are trying to stop him from doing it.
Well, I thought they didn't humanize him because he's not human, but I mean, they actually they made him relatable. Of course. I won't give it away. But they did a good job making him relatable, which I didn't think could be done with Thanos because, you know, he's the ultimate evil guy. So I thought they did a good job with that, making him so you actually cared about him instead of just being a wooden type of power mad titan that he is. I thought they did a really good job of making him relatable. I'm repeating myself, so you go.
No, I agree with you. I think that his motive to do what he is doing, it's different than the comic books. But it's so believable that you sit there and question yourself going, huh, it's not a bad idea. I mean, it's a horrible way of thinking about life, but what he wants to do makes sense logically.
I still have a problem with his motivation.
We'll get to that in the spoiler part of the.
That was the only weak link for me. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I just sat there going, I'm not buying it. But
okay,
we can get into it in the spoiler part.
How about visually? What did you think? Because I think, like, to me, they did not waste a dime on anything. Everything looked like, compared to like Avengers 1 and Avengers Age of Ultron, it looks so smooth, like the entire movie. Even though, never once did I say, oh man, that's definitely a green screen. I mean, obviously, there are parts there aren't, but I'm saying it never took me out of the movie. That's how fluid it felt.
Yeah, I never thought that Thanos looked anything other than real. And same with all the other special effects. It never seemed anything but real. I have no idea what this movie cost. I'm sure it's easy to find out. But you're right. They didn't waste a dime, as you said. Everything looked real, which is amazing, because I'm somebody that grew up with really crappy special effects in movies. It was a big deal when the first Superman movie came out, and they were saying, "You will believe a man can fly," and it looked sort of like he was flying. And now it's seamless. You've got Iron Man changing suits on the fly in the middle of the air, changing costumes, and Peter Parker, well, I don't want to give anything away if something goes on with him, but
and less use of lens flares too, like the J.J. Abrams signature move. I thought that was pretty cool because those kind of hide the little jerks and the little tiny little mistakes that they make with CGI and things like that. But I thought it was perfect. I love the way that it looked. Visually, I think that the planets, and I'm not saying it'll be up for an Oscar. Well, I guess it depends on what else comes out this year. But it would be pretty cool. I mean, after all, Suicide Squad did win an Oscar for best makeup? I think.
I don't know. Like I love the soundtrack to that movie. That's all I know.
Okay.
I love the music to it.
Okay. So let me see. What else can we say without spoiling anything? Dug the music to this. That was all Alan Silvestri. The dude's got a huge track sheet of making amazing music. Threw in a couple of little themes in there, like the Captain America theme, Thor's theme, and Iron Man. A little bit of Iron Man's rocking theme in there. Mixed it all together. I thought it was great.
Let me just say to Biggie Cheese, hang on to your question till we get to the spoiler part, Biggie. We will definitely answer that question when we get to the spoiler part. Those are good questions.
Now, I think out of most of us that have talked in the chat, within the OmniBros chat, Luis I hadn't seen his review yet because I had to see the movie twice. I did. I went to go see the movie twice, by the way. I saw it once on Friday night and then took my daughters to see it early Sunday morning. And even early Sunday morning, it was freaking packed at 9 o'clock in the morning. Maybe people were trying to beat the church traffic. I don't know. But it was that theater was packed full of people.
Yeah. I went Friday afternoon and there weren't that many people.
Good.
I was still there 5 hours, but it wasn't that packed.
What were you doing there for 5 hours?
Well,
back to back?
It started at 1, and we got there at like 12:30 to make sure we got good seats. We were the only ones in the theater, so we were there at 12:30. Used Movie Pass, got our tickets, and there was a half an hour of commercials and ads and previews. So it started about 1:20, 1:25, and then it's a 2 hour and 45 freaking minute movie if you wait till the very end, which you have to, because I'm not spoiling it for anybody. I'm telling you, you need to stay until the very end, very, very end, like after the music's done and everything. You have to wait till the absolute end. That it lasts 2 hour and 45 minutes. I thought, oh, good, 1 o'clock, we'll beat rush hour traffic, and we walked out of there at like 4.
When you said the very end, well, I'm sure we'll talk about that later on, but I have been in movie theaters, both opening nights of when these movies come out, and also I had a friend that would let us into the theater because he worked at the theater, so I got to see a lot of these movies like as soon as Marvel released the Unlock digital code, which was usually Tuesday at midnight, and that was really nice. So we just had a bunch of geeks together and just watching the whole movie by ourselves. But I love watching it with normal people, especially for the end credits. Some of my favorite things I heard were during the ends of Guardians of the Galaxy when it's Howard the Duck shows up. Like it was a group of kids in front of us, and they were like, "Why?" They were so confused, dude. It was so funny. They were like, "Why is Donald Duck at the end of this movie?" And I'm not one of those actually guys. So like,
actually,
that's you all over.
Oh, stop! It is not.
Have you ever ran across any of that, like where you're sitting there with normal people that they're so confused by the end credits or by what happened in this movie? Because I heard some funny stories about this one. I wasn't there to witness it myself, but I heard some funny stories about the ending of this one where people were like a little confused as to what it is.
I did have to explain it to my movie buddy.
Okay.
She has seen all the Marvel movies, but she didn't know what the very last thing on the screen meant, and so I had to explain that to her, and then I had to explain everything about what that meant. So, but I can see how people were confused by that last thing. But you can go on the internet and find out what it's about now.
I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There was another funny story I had in there about after credit thing that I would overhear people say. It's just funny because people that don't read the comics, they wouldn't have a reason to know the hell these characters are.
Well, the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I really had to explain a lot of stuff to her. There was like 3 or 4 end credits to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I really had to explain a couple of those things to her.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that one. That had the cocoon there, right? The Adam Warlock cocoon, yeah, and then it had like the original Guardians of the Galaxy in it. And, I forgot about that. Yeah,
and
like Charlie 27 and Prism. What the hell's that dude's name? But yeah, I thought that was a cool ending. So I would I remember my wife making a comment. She was like, "I bet they don't put anything at the end of this one, so you could leave here with even more of a distraught feeling." Because I think people would have. Like, you come to expect some kind of hope, right, at the end of these movies.
Right.
And if they had not put an after credits, I think people would have been more upset. Like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, that was a dark ending.
So I was in the movie theaters when I'm going to compare this to my childhood, which was Transformers, the movie that came out in 1986, when they killed Optimus Prime. And they killed a bunch of my favorite characters from the cartoon. And it was really all it was just Hasbro's way of I'm going to tell, but no, Hasbro, I'm sorry, of just change. All it was a toy commercial, right, to them. They didn't think of these characters. Kids would be attached to these characters. So they were just phasing out the old toy wave to bring in the new toys. Well, they had to change the ending to G.I. Joe the movie because kids were so upset at Optimus Prime dying that when Duke got a snake literally ripped his body, like a snake went through his chest, like he was in a coma. And then at the end, you don't even see him, and they had to change the script to like, "Oh, he's okay. He's doing better. He's back at the hospital," instead of like, "Duke's dead." But do you remember, like, I'm going to go with Empire Strikes Back. do you remember that feeling of like, oh my God, the good guys just got their asses handed to them? What are they gonna do? Like, you know, you got Han, he is like all carbonized and stuff. Luke got his hand chopped, and his dad is Darth Vader. Like, were you freaking out? Do you remember seeing that in the movie theater?
Oh, absolutely. When I saw that in the movie theater, I sat there in stunned silence, just going, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's still one of my top 5 movies, Empire Strikes Back, because of that ending. It's just so, that was so powerful, I think. And I think that Mark Hamill deserves credit for his acting chops in that. I just think it was, yeah, I can't even speak. I have goosebumps thinking about it still. I've only seen it 100 times now, but it still gets me.
So the difference was that you had to wait 3 years before you found out what happened, right? You didn't have the internet to go on and be like, what does this mean, right? We now everybody has that access, so they're like, all right, no way they killed this character, blah blah blah. Let's see what's going on, what this ending's about. Now you have every YouTube channels out there explaining the ending, what's going on, what's going to happen in the next movie. I feel like we're missing something. I wish it was back to those days of like Optimus Prime, like my childhood, or when you were younger, like when you were in your 50s when you watch Empire Strikes Back. That you just leave the theater going, oh my God, there's no way they're gonna win. Like,
well, yeah, and you're right. I said we gotta wait 3 whole years to find out what happened. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It came out in like 1980. I had to wait till 1983 or something. It was insane.
Right. I mean, and now we have to wait less than a year. There have been leaked pictures of the movie before this movie even came out, so you kind of know who's going to be in it. Or
I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, I was like, what? I almost hate that part, but in the same sense that like the way that I hate that comic books don't surprise people anymore because you know they're trying to sell them, so they have to call something the resurrection of Jean Grey without a shocker that like, oh, Jean Grey's back, awesome.
Right.
But anyway, old school nostalgia, that kind of way of thinking. But yeah, my kids walked out of this. I got my girl. My girls are 8 and 6, and my daughter had the same question your friend did at the very end. But everything else, she was like, she didn't cry. There was a lot of tears, though. I do remember a lot of tears during certain parts of the movie. Some being my cousin because she's really attached to a certain character, and so I thought that was cool. That was cool because that's what I wanted. I wanted people to feel the pain of loss because these heroes have always won by the end of the day. And by the end of this movie, you don't get that. You're like, oh, what? How? I mean, I think Cap says it all with his last line, and we'll talk about that because I guess that's all these non-spoiler parts I have to say about the movie without getting too much into it. Oh, I loved it. I loved the movie. I thought it was great. I still, I don't know if it's better than Avengers. Because I hold Avengers up so. Right now, of course, I'm going to say yes. It's definitely better than Avengers because I'm still riding that high.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved Avengers 1 and Avengers 2. I don't know that this is my favorite Avengers movie. I mean, I loved it.
What about Marvel movies? Let's do that before we talk about the spoiler stuff while we wait on Gabe, if he even shows up.
I don't think Gabe will be able to resist.
Top 3, like Marvel movies.
Oh gosh, I'll have to think of them all.
I'm not Fox stuff, but everything that started in 2008 with Iron Man.
X-Men Last Stand is number 1.
You are kicked out of this channel. I'm banning the staple in blue that holds this group together. And that's Fox.
Right, okay. I loved Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
A lot.
It's a good one.
A lot. Because I love humor and I love Thor. I think he just does a great job at being Thor. I loved that one. As soon as you say something, I'm gonna go, oh yeah, that one too. I'm trying to go over them. I love both.
I'm hoping you say like Batman versus Superman. Just so we lose all kinds of credibility.
That Marvel Wonder Woman movie, that was good. I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because, of course, of the humor, and I just thought those characters were great. I really loved Spider-Man Homecoming. For some reason, that seems to be a bit of a polarizing movie.
I like that one, too.
Let's see.
Maybe I should have done top worst 3. Or worst 3. No. Keep going.
I've actually liked all the Marvel movies since Iron Man. When was that? 2008. I've actually liked them all.
10 years in the making, man.
Yeah. Loved both Avengers movies.
Avengers 2 gets a lot of hate. Age of Ultron, because most people prefer Civil War over Age of Ultron.
Civil War was great. Winter Soldier was great. I loved all the Captain America movies. Civil War was great. I don't know that I can. I mean, I guess I named my top 3 there with Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Thor Ragnarok. But I loved them all. I loved Doctor Strange.
Before this movie came out, mine were Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, because I was just so pleasantly surprised by that movie, and Winter Soldier. I thought that movie was so different than First Avenger, and so it took a lot of elements of the movies that I enjoyed from the 70s and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, this is such an awesome spy movie, it's great. And I was so waiting for Robert Redford to rip his mask off and reveal to be the Red Skull, but it never happened. But in my fanfic it did. I don't write fanfic.
In your fanfic. Yeah, I thought that movie was dark, which I really liked. I liked how dark that movie was. Yeah, man, in the middle of it they kill Fury, even though, I mean, he doesn't die, which I guess we'll talk about that too. The actual impacts of the deaths to some people, because some people are like, oh, it's a comic book movie. These guys aren't dead. So, spoilers? You want to get to it? To spoil? Up to you. Okay, everybody. Here is where we're going to talk about everything in the movie. We're going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it... Wait, hold on. Tyler Trent. Yes, I agree. Iron Man 2, Thor 2, and I'm going to throw Iron Man 3 as my least favorite Marvel movies. What was the first one you didn't like? Thor 2, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. I did not like those movies. Okay. Tyler Trent wrote Iron Man 2, Hulk, and Thor 2. I never saw either of the first 2 Hulk movies because I heard they were awful, so I never saw them. Do they even count in this timeline? Yeah, Incredible does. That's where Thunderbolt Ross shows up. And he's in Civil War and in... Wait, who was Hulk? Who was Hulk in that one? That was Ed Norton. But okay, I never saw that. Ed Norton was always... I mean, he's a great actor, but he was always too up there for Marvel. I don't know why. I mean, I guess the name, trying to draw people in. But they ended up with Ruffalo, and I thought Ruffalo did a great job. So yeah, I think he's a good Hulk. All right, so at the what time are we on now? Let me see. We are at the... Why is it not telling me? Whatever time we're on right now, mark it. Yeah, mark it right now. Where could I find that? Mark it on the notes. It should be on the channel, on the YouTube channel that we're streaming right now. Oh, okay, yeah. Right at 38:20. Okay, 38:20. Spoilers. We're starting to spoil it. 38:20. We'll have to write that on the notes for people that just started watching. So, welcome to the spoiler part of Infinity War, where half of your favorite characters died, disintegrated in front of your eyes. And as I mentioned earlier, I feel like some people aren't moved by that because this is a comic book movie, and some people are like, "Oh, they'll be back. No way they're gonna kill off these characters because they have a movie." So, I love the movie. There's a couple things I could nitpick about it, but one of the things that I will say that I wish they had done, and I completely understand why they didn't, was Thanos. I wish that Thanos had been more creative with the way that he took out the Avengers at the end, where he's just swiping them left and right like he's on Tinder and just knocking them. He's just knocking them out, you know? I'm like, oh man,
Because in Infinity Gauntlet, he was creative. He had the gauntlet, or he had the Infinity Stones. He could do whatever he wanted, turn them into rubber bones like he did Wolverine. I wish he had done that, kind of like what he did with Drax and Mantis. But I'm sure money and time probably played a lot to do with that. And I'm glad, if they had to cut anything, I was okay with cutting that, so they could have enough money for the crumbling of the moon like a fucking Final Fantasy game and throwing it at Iron Man. I was like, oh my god, I've been watching anime and read comic books for over 35 years. This is the shit that I've been wanting to see in the big screen.
Right. I guess everybody's most impactful death was Spider-Man, how he knew it was happening because of his spider sense, and you just saw this kid disintegrating really slowly and terrified, while the other people just sort of disappeared, like Black Panther disappeared, and Cap Cap disappeared, right?
How many times have you watched this?
I've only seen it once.
No. No, the people that disappeared were pretty much all the Guardians except for Rocket and Nebula. They're all gone.
Right.
Which surprised me. Peter Quill, I was like, okay, surely they're going to have... Nope, gone. I was like, what the fuck? So let's talk about the deaths before the snap. So the movie literally kicks off with, I think, the right way to do it. Let's introduce his character. Let's introduce how badass and ruthless he is. And let's introduce how strong he is. And the line is brought back by Loki where he's like, okay, yeah, well, we got a Hulk, right? Kind of like what Iron Man told him in Avengers 1. And then Hulk comes running in and starts punching Thanos. And Thanos literally just wipes the floor with him. Knocks him out. Knocks him out so bad that you never see Hulk in the entire movie ever again. Because I think he's too scared to come out and face these characters. Anyway, that's what I kind of like. Almost want to compare it to like impotence or something like that. I've never gone through that, but maybe you can chime in.
No, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, about why he couldn't Hulk out again.
That was what I got out of it, like, because he kept saying no, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it starts out with the death of Loki. And Thanos saying, and there'll be no coming back from this one, because he had been reincarnated. So, I mean, there were deaths before he snapped people gone. Like Gamora shocked me, and the Vision.
Right off the bat, you said Loki, right? Loki's back. And honestly, I hope they're done with that character. I hope they don't bring him back. I know the ladies love him. Not just ladies, but there's a lot of fans that love Loki. I just think they've done everything with that character that they possibly could.
I'm sick of him.
He's been in every Thor movie, and I mean, there's really nothing else for his character arc. So killing him, and then Thanos actually saying, no more resurrections. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Killing Heimdall. Because then you're like, oh shit, how are they going to get to Earth, right? He's the one that creates the bridges. So that's what his last task is. He sends Bruce Banner to Earth to warn people. And that reminded me of fucking Onslaught when he's like, Thanos is coming. Because that was the big thing, like before Onslaught was all these characters were warning that Onslaught was coming in the Marvel Universe for like 5 months before the event actually happened. So he crash lands through Doctor Strange's temple, and he's like all out of it. And he's like, Thanos is coming.
And Doctor Strange goes, who?
And then you get the title, and it is a non-stop ride. This is I cannot even describe this as a movie, but more of an experience from beginning to end. It is a huge thrill ride. If you're one of those anxious people that can't watch movies like Gravity, where she is struggling to get from outer space back to Earth and stuff the entire time, and you get anxious, I can kind of see people getting anxious through this movie because it's nonstop. Like, holy shit, what's going to happen? There is not a minute to rest, and there's not a minute for characters to kind of reconnect. That characters that we hadn't seen for a while, other than the hey, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in 2 years. I know, and then here comes the Black Order.
What do you think about the theory that's going around that
there's so many theories?
I know there's so many theories, but that Gamora is trapped in the Soul Stone. She's not dead. She's trapped in the Soul Stone.
We didn't talk about that. So before we talk about the death of Gamora and what led to that, what you said you didn't like his push behind why he's doing this?
Yeah, to me that's really weak.
Really?
Yeah,
better than like not like worse than banging like a bony broad? Like
I understand why they had to leave out death personified, you know, as a woman. That would have gone over that would have taken too much setup, and I mean that would have been like a half hour before the movie even got going just to set that up. So I get why they wiped it out, but population control, I don't know. It just seemed like if I had all the Infinity Stones in my glove, would I really just want to wipe out half the universe for the sake of population control? It just kind of seemed empty to me. I would have thought he would have wanted to be the ruler of everything, and I don't know. I get it. I understand why they did it, but it just seemed kind of like a meh motivation to me.
See, if he wanted to be the ruler of everything, then he would have been just like what most villains are, just one-dimensional.
Well, that's a good point.
To give him this actual logical way of thinking, like a tyrant, like somebody that is actually trying to do the right thing, and you kind of, you know, because there's probably most of us are questioning, like, what are you saying is kind of making sense. You know, if there's less people, there's less resources we have to use. He's literally saving planets, you know, like he mentioned to Gamora, like her planet, you know, people are eating, kids are going to bed with full bellies. It's a fucked up way of thinking, but to me it made sense why he's doing what he's doing. And that's what he wanted to do. I thought it was a great change, and I thought it added an element of, yeah, you're right, humanity to his character.
Yeah, well, that is a good point, because at the end of the movie, he's still burdened by it, it looks like.
I thought he was at peace at the end of the movie.
Okay.
Did you notice the scarecrow? The scarecrow at the end of the movie? With his
I did not.
Okay, so at the end of Infinity Gauntlet, that is literally like the ending of this, with the exception of Adam Warlock walking up. It's Thanos sitting down in his wife beater, or he's wearing like a potato sack in the comics, and he's got the scarecrows there with his armor because he's like in retirement. But this is a different reason. This is like he won. That was like he was kind of forced into retirement early in the comic books. So I thought that was really, really cool that they did that.
Okay, wait, explain that to me again now.
So in the comic books, after he lost the gauntlet and Adam Warlock got it back, that's where the comic book ends, the Infinity Gauntlet number 6.
Right.
Him sitting down in this peaceful little farm, and he's got a scarecrow, and the scarecrow has his armor, like his helmet and stuff, like kind of like, oh, I'm retired. Or this blonde motherfucker made me retire early. Something like that. Whereas in the movie, it was like he had found peace, so he's okay giving up his armor and just sitting down and watching the sunset or whatever.
Okay.
And that's why I was like, man, Thanos is really the main character in this movie. It was so cool. It was a unique experience because of that too.
Well, okay.
Because we see it through Thanos' eyes. You know, yes, the Guardians and the Avengers are split up into 5 different groups and things like that, little things going on. But it's basically the Thanos story of how he is getting each stone. With the exception of the Xandar, because I think, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this is just my stupid theory, but if they ever do a Nova movie, that would be the perfect place to start, is with the destruction of Xandar and the Nova Corps, and Thanos and the Black Order coming in, killing everybody, and then the helmet, World Mind or whatever it's called, escaping and going to Earth and talking to this young guy named Rich Rider. Oh, and they make a Nova movie, that would be to do it. But anyway, enough of my fanfics.
That's twice you've said that now. I have a feeling you're revealing something.
No, I just have friends that love writing fanfics. I'm envious. I have no writing skills at all. But
no, okay, that makes sense. Okay,
so
I think that makes sense.
I had a conversation with my cousin because she was under the belief that he knew he had to kill Gamora, and to me, it looked like from his facial expression that he didn't.
I don't think he did.
So, and this is another cool thing. Some people were upset by this. I'm glad they did this because I hate dangling characters, like plot holes, dangling plot lines, and things like that. I'm glad they brought back the Red Skull. We hadn't seen him since First Avenger,
No, that was cool. I didn't expect that at all.
And he kind of looks like a Grim Reaper, and he's up there because the Tesseract sent him up there. And I'm like, awesome. Even though it's not Hugo Weaving because he's way too good for Marvel movies, I have no idea why they casted that guy in to begin with anyway. That was probably one of the worst casting choices Marvel did. But anyway, this guy nailed it, even kind of sounds like him for the short part that he was in it. And he's guiding Thanos into how to get the soul gem, and by sacrificing something that he loves. And to the shock of Gamora, he actually loved and cared for her. I mean,
soul
the throne.
For a soul.
Yeah, the throne was built for her, so I don't know why she's. Because I guess she's under to believe that there's no way that this creature of darkness could love anything. So I thought that was great, man. And then he just throws her in there. Now, to your theory about her being stuck in the soul gem, or is that like
that's a theory? That's
okay,
not my theory. I'm just saying that's a theory.
That where all the characters that have disappeared gone into the soul gem, and then she's there too. So when they come out, she'll be brought back. Is that what the theory is?
I think that, well, that is one theory. Okay. But I think another theory is that since she's kind of a part of the soul gem because it's a soul for a soul, that she's part of the soul gem. It couldn't have been done without her. She was the sacrifice, so she's the one that still exists. She is the soul gem, I guess, is the theory.
I will say that Gamora, the portrayal of the movie Gamora is not one of my favorite characters. She's okay. Comic Gamora I really enjoy. For the most dangerous woman in the universe, she really doesn't come across as one that often in the Guardians movies because she's.
Well, that's a good point.
She's just getting knocked around left and right, just about.
Yeah, Black Widow kicks more ass than she does.
Oh, dude, there were so many times. Like taking my little girls to see this movie made me so happy. Like when Black Widow and what's her name? Oh God, Michonne, the girl. I cannot remember the
right.
T'Challa's guard.
Mm-hmm.
When they team up to take down Midnight. I'm forgetting names. Sorry, it's medication. Proxima. When they team up to take her down, my daughter was clapping and smiling, and I'm like, yes.
Black Widow had some major league moves. Both those gals had major league moves that were going on and on and on. It was awesome.
I love the fighting between Hulk and Thanos, even though it was CG. It was so well choreographed because the way that the camera panned around, it looked so real. Oh, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So nitpicking, I didn't like how fast the Black Order went. I kind of hoped they were left for the next movie, but whatever. Just nitpicking. I loved it. Oh man, the whole scene with what's his name floating around the city chasing Doctor Strange. Like that's just like out of anime stuff that like I've seen for years in comic books and anime. I loved it.
Oh right. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name.
I don't know his name.
But it was just so cool, and once again, visually, it was so pleasing to see. And yeah, nitpicking. That would be the other little thing is I wish the Black Order, maybe one or two, had survived for the next movie, but I have no idea what they have planned for the next movie. It's supposed to be a different kind of movie, so they know better than I do because this movie rocked it. The only thing that this is probably the biggest gripe I have about the movie, and it's not even that big, is I wish that they had more memorable lines for Captain America. Like, I feel like he really didn't say much because the movie was just moving so quick.
Yeah.
And people were clapping when he caught the Proxima's javelin thing, her spear, and when he showed up, and then when they all ran like him and Black Panther were running towards all the villains. People were clapping, but I mean, he really didn't say much other than I am Groot and I am Steve Rogers, which had everybody laughing.
Yeah.
And of course, dude, I actually said, fuck yeah. Because I've been wanting, I've been wanting to hear Avengers Assemble for 10 years now. And it hasn't happened. So my wife has a theory that the next movie is going to be called Avengers Assemble. And that would make me happy. But I guess we'll see. But I actually screamed, fuck yeah, when Thor showed up with Rocket Raccoon and Groot. I mean, that's probably a lot of people's favorite scene in the movie, where they come down in the middle of the fight and they're just rocking it out with Beta Ray Bill Stormbreaker. So who knows? We may actually see Beta Ray Bill one day.
Yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised that Peter Dinklage was the giant dwarf. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Oh, the guy. Yeah, I was okay with that. That was cool.
I thought that was fun, and anything with Thor, I'm happy with because I just think he's the best. So I loved every scene that he was in, and I didn't mind the humor. I feel like humor is a great release for the tension. If you have a movie like this that's just nothing but tension, I don't know. I think it's too much. That's why I like the humorous bits, you know, especially with Thor and Peter Quill, their little rivalry, and then Thor takes off to get Stormbreaker.
You're right.
With Rocket, I think it helps break the tension. It helps make it more relatable, and I just think I love the places where the humor's dropped in. It was perfectly dropped in.
I completely agree with you, because I remember the first time watching it, I was thinking, man, that was really not a great spot for it. But I noticed that after Star-Lord found out that Gamora was dead, like the humor stopped. And I think that was the perfect, like, I'm sorry, the humor in that point, except for Spider-Man, who's always Spider-Man, like, I'm sorry, I forgot everybody's names and things like that when he's trying to catch him.
Oh, we're using our fake names?
Oh yeah, I love that. So I thought that was really cool that the humor kind of slowed down, at least from Star-Lord's part, who was hilarious the entire. I love the whole meeting Thor. They were like, "You're a dude." Drax was like, "You're a dude. This is a man, very muscular man, like a pirate and an angel gave birth."
I love Drax. He gets the best line.
He really does, man.
I saw him working out at my gym a few years ago, right after the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, are you serious? What's his name? Batista?
Dave Batista. He's I believe he's from around here. I was working out with a personal trainer at the time, so this is probably back in 2014. I don't know when Guardians of the Galaxy came out. 2014? Whenever it was, it had just come out, and he was, wildly popular. And my trainer, we were at Gold's Gym, and my trainer said, "Check it out, that's Dave Batista over there." And I go, "Really?" And I go, "Okay, let me just walk around the gym slowly. Let me check him out."
You ask him if he needed a spotter?
No, I didn't. I walked around, just minding my own business, took a quick glance over at him, and I go, "Oh, wow, that is him." And he looked at me, he caught my eye, and he just went like that, like, "Stay away."
Like, he knew. He was like, "Oh, you're a nerd. You're gonna try to talk to me."
"Well, I'm not interrupting your workout, sir." So I go over to my trainer, and my trainer goes, "Yeah, I know him." And I go, "Oh, can you introduce me?" And he said, "No, we're not on good terms. I started dating his wife after they got divorced." And I'm like, "Oh shit." So
that's why
there went my chance to meet Drax.
That's awesome, man. The closest I've ever met to anybody like that was Randy Man Macho Savage, or Randy Savage Macho Man. He worked out here. He's at this central area in Kentucky, and he was working out at one of the facilities in Lexington, Kentucky. And I was there, and that was back when he was like not wrestling anymore and doing the slip into a Slim Jim. And why the hell are we talking about this? Oh yeah, Drax. That's why.
Drax. I can attest to the fact that is all Dave Batista. There's no prosthetics there. That's him.
So let's see. So now he gets the stones, of course.
Yes.
And I know Gabe had a problem with he had a problem that every time he had to use the Infinity Gauntlet, he had to close it. I'm okay with that, because that actually gives the heroes a chance, like, visually. If you have a guy just think, like, okay, like the kid from the Twilight Zone, I'm sending you out to the field, there's no way you're going to win. You don't have a chance. But at least there's a tiny chance that if the guy cannot close his fist, then you can take the gauntlet from him, or you can keep him from doing crazy shit.
I loved the fight at the end where they were almost got the gauntlet off, and they were just going at him relentlessly.
Right, that's when Star-Lord was like freaked out.
Flipped out, yeah. But Biggie Cheese, if you're still in the chat, he had some good questions. Biggie, are you still in the chat, or did you leave? Because let me go back to his question about characters acting out of character. Which I hadn't picked up on. Let's see if I can find Biggie Cheese. back here. Biggie, where are you?
Why is Gamora? That's such a great line. Oh man, yeah.
Here it is. Biggie Cheese. Is it true that certain characters acted out of character? If so, which ones were they, and what did they do, and what were your thoughts on it? And thoughts on them changing Thanos' motivation, which we already talked about. But did certain characters act out of character?
No. I think Benedict Cumberbatch did a better job playing Doctor Strange this time around. So I enjoyed his character a lot more. Because I was not a fan of him playing Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange movie. I don't think he can pull. I didn't think within that movie he could pull off that American quip humor that Marvel movies have.
Right.
It's too British and a gentleman to do it. I don't know. But within this movie, I think he did a damn good job. I don't know. Characters acting out of character, not.
I didn't see any of that.
Not really. I mean, Bucky is no longer Winter Soldier. He's now White Wolf. And there was character growth within Rocket Raccoon. That's why you get that wonderful, within Thor Ragnarok. That's why you get that wonderful, not Thor Ragnarok, I'm sorry, Guardians 2. So we get that wonderful scene between him and Thor, where he sympathizes with Thor. And Thor's telling him about all his loss, and he's in tears.
Right.
And he sympathizes with him instead of making fun of him. And I thought that was great. I don't think that's out of character, though, if you have been watching every one of these movies. That's just the growth of the character. That's who he is now.
Iron Cardinal is reporting that a lot of people are saying Quill was out of character, which he doesn't agree with.
No.
I think Quill was his emotional, usual self.
I mean, maybe when he reacted, but I mean, that's the way Quill would have reacted. He lost his mom. I mean, he's a guy that hasn't really loved that many people, other than his mom, Yondu. So he cares about his crewmates, and he loves. I mean, he told Gamora he loved her before he was going to shoot her.
Right.
So I think that was a logic, or that's the way any normal man that's in love would have reacted.
Right. Omnipool has a question. Was Thor's sister from Ragnarok supposed to be Death from the IW comic, which is why Thanos wanted the Infinity Gauntlet to impress? Thor's sister was Hela.
And they're not brother and sister in the comic books.
Death is her own thing.
Yeah, and Hela is a different character than the Death in the cosmic universe. So this borrowed, the movie borrowed, obviously elements from Infinity Gauntlet and the Jonathan Hickman's Infinity, but it kind of did its own thing too, which is completely fine. And I think sometimes people have a problem with that because Kevin Feige said that the strongest character in the Marvel cinematic universe is Captain Marvel. And I remember a couple years ago, people just throwing a fit about that. They were like, that can't be. That, there's so much stronger characters. What about the Sentry? What about... And in my head, I'm like, well, you have to separate. It's a different medium. They're comic books, which it doesn't change anything that happens in the comic books. These are just the movies.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with them saying, like, I don't know, maybe it's people that just can't have strong female leads. So, speaking of Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel.
That was the funny thing I read. Okay, so at the very end, and by the way, I called that a year ago. As soon as they said there was going to be a Captain Marvel movie, I'm like, when I found out it was going to be in the 90s, I'm like, they're so tying that into the Avengers movie. But I said that she was going to show up in the after credits. So the way they did it was right before Nick Fury and Maria Hill disappear because they're part of the Rapture, or Thanos' Rapture.
The Rapture.
He sends a beeper message.
Yeah, that's weird.
So she's either at a hospital, which is what we use at the hospitals. The doctors still use that, or she's locked up somewhere, and it's the Captain Marvel emblem. And that was my favorite thing I read. Was like people were like, "Is that Wonder Woman? Is Wonder Woman going to show up in the next movie?" I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." But so yeah, it's an old beeper. We don't know where she is. We know nothing about her. We know that her movie takes place in the 90s, and Samuel L. Jackson has a toupee on, and the guy actually looks like he's 40 with just a toupee. He's got both eyes, and we don't know where she is. She could be locked away. She could be part of the quantum. I mean, there's so many theories, right?
Right.
And I'm sure somebody's got it right. I mean, somebody figured out the whole Hodor thing years before Hodor revealed who Hodor was in Game of Thrones.
Don't tell me. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'm way behind on my Game of
Wow,
Thrones.
Jess.
Don't spoil it in the chat either. What was I going to say?
Theories about Captain Marvel, Quantum Realm.
Her movie is coming out before the second part of this, so it will establish her as a character in the Marvel Universe.
Correct.
Coming out in the spring, and this second movie's coming out in the summer, I think.
Yes. No, the second part comes out the same time, like in May.
Okay. Well, then Captain Marvel comes out in March or February or something. Right. She definitely comes out before the next Avengers movie.
And we know that the Kree are going to show up because, I mean, that is part of her origin. And we know that Ronan the Accuser is going to be in it. So we don't know much else about after that. But I'm sure we'll see Thanos in the Black Order. I'm sure that we'll see some kind of link between the two movies. What I don't want to happen, though, is for her to save the day. Like, really, I want already established characters to do it. Like, either Nebula or Captain America. It doesn't even have to be Captain America taking the gauntlet. If that's the way they're going to fix things. I really don't know how they're going to fix it. These are just theories.
Which is what's great.
So,
I mean, that ending was so dark. You just left the theater going, how, like you said, how are they going to fix this? How is it possible for them to actually win back the day?
So let's talk about that. By end of movie, you've got the remaining characters from Tony's team. So Spider-Man's gone, Doctor Strange is gone, Star-Lord, Mantis, and Drax all disappear. They're all gone. The only ones left up there in space are just Nebula and Tony.
Right.
On Earth, you have Captain America, because, let's see, Bucky's gone, Black Panther's gone, Scarlet Witch is gone. Who else disappeared down there? Groot. That was a little rough. And that whole, I think you and I talked about the death of Spider-Man. I thought that was great. Like, I assumed that was his spider sense kicking in, saying, hey, something's wrong. That's why he's like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. And that last line that he delivered, the I don't want to go. A lot of people think it's probably based on Doctor Who, because that's what the 10th Doctor says before he dies.
No, fuck Doctor Who.
New Doctor Who is brilliant, but that's another story. I think it was a genuine, I thought it was done really well. I don't know if that was what the script called for, or if that just was improv. I thought it was done so well, and that was that's when my cousin was crying when he was disappearing, and because that was a pretty sad scene.
Oh, it was a very sad scene. I thought it was the saddest scene in the movie. But as soon as I said to my movie buddy, I feel like they picked some of the wrong characters to die, because it's so obvious they're going to come back. We've already got a Black Panther movie scheduled. I mean, we've already got the next Spider-Man movie scheduled.
See, man, this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. I missed the days when Empire Strikes Back and Transformers, we had to wait to find out, because there wasn't the internet. There wasn't all these coming soon. We knew Return of the Jedi was going to come out, but we didn't know the title. We didn't know what was going to happen. Now we've got leaked footage, leaked pictures and things like that. And I almost hate that, because it sucks. You leave they'll be back, right? Most people are going to be like that. They'll be back. Don't worry about it. So I thought it was interesting that the characters that are left, you've got the original Avengers. You've got Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, what I assume is going to be Ant-Man and maybe Wasp. And then you have the original 5 with Captain America.
Well, what about Black Widow?
She wasn't an original Avenger.
Okay.
I mean, she was. I'm sorry, from the comic books.
I meant movie.
Yeah, so you've got Black Widow's left, and I assume Clint is going to see his family disappear, because he wasn't in this whole movie, like you said earlier. Hawkeye. Right. So maybe he'll see his whole family disappear, and for some reason wear the Ronin outfit, because that was part of the leaked photos. He's wearing that Ronin outfit from Bendis' run. So, we don't know how they're going to go back. We don't know. All we were told is that the next movie is a different type of movie. I don't know if we're talking about like Back to the Future 2, where we got to go back to the past to fix the future. Because, I mean, it's not linear. The Marvel universe isn't linear. We know that because of Doctor Strange. I mean, he's sitting there like looking at how many possibilities, 164 million possibilities. And he's like, there's only one way we're going to win this. And that was to give up the time stone.
Right.
Make everybody, and maybe that's what he saw. And
I was going to,
next movie.
I was going to ask you about that. Right. Okay. I was going to ask you about what was going on in Doctor Strange's head.
I assume that's what was going on. He knew what was going to happen, and he had to do what he had to do.
Right.
He said this is the Endgame, which is the other title that everybody thinks is going to be called Avengers Endgame.
It's not going to be called Infinity Gauntlet?
No, that would be ridiculous. Why would they call it the Infinity Gauntlet?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Step into my office. You're fired.
That's the second time you fired me.
No, I have no idea. All I know is they wouldn't reveal. They're not going to reveal it until I guess everybody has seen the movie. And the movie comes out on Blu-ray and 4K in August, dude. Like the Steelbook, you know, the Best Buy exclusive Steelbooks. I think that was up on sale by. I went to watch it on Friday and it was up on sale that Friday night to pre-order because those things sell out so quick.
The Steelbooks? Yeah. Yeah, that is a black hole I am not going down. I am not collecting Steelbooks.
You don't want to do that. Somebody said it's called Avengers Forever. Oh my God, I would love that. Clarknado. That would be just as good as Avengers Assemble. That would be awesome, actually. Because, oh man, that's one thing. Whenever this whole Marvel and Fox deal actually goes through, I can't wait for these characters to show up. Like Kang. Kang is my favorite Avengers villain. I mean, and he's nothing but time travel. That would be great. But
we finally got Matt Miranda's attention because we talked about Steelbooks.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, that's his. That and posters are his. Main
yeah, I know he's a big posters guy. So yeah, man, I really love the movie. There were very little things. You know, it's not perfect, but I thought it was near perfect.
Yeah, and you already talked me out of my one gripe, which was his motivation. You made me see that was actually almost a noble motivation in a twisted way. So I actually have no problems with the movie.
It's because I read smart comic books that are not written by Bendis.
Yeah, those were the next words out of my mouth, actually.
I heard it in a 11 o'clock comics podcast.
Oh, fucking shut up. Oh, and I heard it.
So yeah, those are my thoughts. So let's take it to the chat. What did everybody think? I'm sorry, while you and I were talking, I was trying to read some of this stuff.
Yeah, so was I.
Okay, so what's gonna happen after Thanos? Well, they still have a lot of villains, but that was my question too, Alex. What's gonna happen? Where do you go from here?
Once you encounter the ultimate bad guy, what do you do after that?
You literally have been setting up everything for 10 years. Right? Everything from Nick Fury appearing at the end of Iron Man 1 has led to this. Where do you go from here?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That was an awesome moment.
Right. For every comic book fan, right? For every comic book, except the racist ones. That are like, he's not black. Then you have to explain to your racist friend. I don't know why you have racist friends, but you have to explain to them, like, oh, no, that's ultimate Nick Fury.
Racist friend.
But I don't know, man. That is an excellent question because there's no way that they can. I'm going to go ahead and say there's no way that they can recreate what we're going through right now. There's no way that they can rebuild this again. I mean, unless it's from scratch.
There'll be a letdown then?
Not a letdown. I mean, I'll still watch them. You know, people are saying, like, I remember hearing arguments about, the comic book movies. Like, even James Cameron jumped in on that bandwagon and started complaining about the alien. Okay, when did you get British? Aliens and The Abyss are like two of my favorite movies, and I know you cry every time you watch Titanic, so we can't bust on Cameron. The guy's
I've never seen Titanic.
Whatever, dude. Don't lie. You've got the.
I've never seen it.
You own the steelbook and the vinyl soundtrack.
I don't even own a single thing of it. I never saw it because it got ruined for me. They told me the ship sank at the end and it ruined the movie for me.
Dude, speaking of Titanic, did you see Celine Dion actually perform a song for Deadpool 2?
No, where's that?
Look on YouTube. He's in the video too. I was like, what? How did we get from this little like 10-minute little CG thing that Tim Miller put together with Ryan Reynolds to Celine Dion singing a song for the Deadpool 2 soundtrack? But anyway,
that's awesome.
That is an excellent question. I wish I had an answer. I don't know. I don't know where you go from here, man.
Well, there's something in the chat. Iron Cardinal said the next phases are going to be setting up Annihilation.
I would hope so.
They're going to go cosmic.
Honestly, the way I would handle this if I were running the show, I would focus less on Avengers. And I know because that's their flagship titles, and take a gamble with the stuff that you just got back. So recreate the Marvel stuff, or I'm sorry, the mutants, and recreate the Fantastic Four and bring it into this universe by showing, and even throwing in some cameos. Focus on Spider-Man and Black Panther, which I'm sure are still going to be new Avengers or whatever they end up calling them. And, you know, focus on that for a while. Lay off the Avengers because you've kind of ridden that wave after Thanos. Not to say that don't make any more Avengers movies, but focus on the title, on the characters that you got back.
Well, you have to think also that these guys are not getting any younger, these Avengers. And I know Chris Evans wants out of his contract as Captain America. I have no idea what Robert Downey Jr. wants to do, but I mean, he's 10 years older than he was the last time he made the movie, so he's 50
I think he's 50 something, 51.
Yeah, so
Ruffalo's 52 or something. He's up there too.
Yeah, at some point they are going to need to reboot and start something else. But you're right. Where do you go after you have the ultimate villain?
Somebody said, "Oh my God, there's so many good ideas in the chat." That remind me. Yeah, let's do a Nova movie. See, you bring in Nova. Started just like Annihilation, right? Do a Nova movie, and then go, have a continuing story within Guardians of the Galaxy, the next movie, and then have another. I'm trying to think of who else would make a really good cosmic character. Adam Warlock, maybe, like a spin-off cosmic characters. Silver Surfer. Now that you've got him back, just tied into all this Annihilation kind of thing, because that's what Avengers did. That's a good way of putting it. They took all these little miniseries, and then they had a main event, and then that main event led into another group of miniseries, Phase 2, that led into a bigger event, and it all led into the Thanos Imperative. 7 years of wonderful Marvel storytelling, all out the window within 2 issues of Bendis' Guardians of the Galaxy. And I swear, we can't have an episode without me busting on that guy's balls.
No, that is very true.
And I've met him with some friends like a few times. He is a damn good guy. He's a good guy. I just have never enjoyed his writing. But that's just me. I know there's plenty of people. I know you do, and Riley and Gabe.
Yeah. Actually, you're a bit of a jerk, so.
What?
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a jerk.
You're a bit of a jerk for the way you talk about Bendis.
Wow. It's not like, I feel bad for him. He has a lot of money.
Like money can dry his tears at night when he thinks about what Omar says about him?
I'm seriously doubt that he loses any sleep about what... I've been saying the same thing about him for like 10 years. It's nothing new. It's all these new kids that are now think it's cool to pick on Bendis. Posers. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat because I thought that was some really cool ideas there. Magus, Chris M called me a weirdo. I guess I kind of am a weirdo.
When Spidey and Stark are trying to rip the gauntlet off Thanos, why couldn't Tony just shoot a laser and cut his arm off?
Problem solved.
I sort of wondered why Stormbreaker, Thor didn't aim it at his arm instead of his chest.
Because then you wouldn't have an Avengers 4 movie. You wouldn't have conflict. Come on, guys.
True.
They literally could have solved this problem at the beginning of the movie, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Speaking of anyone read his new series, Jimmy Owens, I'm not sure what you're asking there. Speaking of, was it Bendis? Anyone read his new series #1? Are we talking about Bendis there, Jimmy?
I know Avengers #1 came out yesterday. I haven't the Jason Aaron one. I haven't read it yet though.
I
Thanos,
agree with. Go ahead. What's
I think
that now?
the Thanos have a new series, a new ongoing.
I agree with Alex Hernandez. Donny Cates' run on Thanos is freaking phenomenal. It is great.
Yeah, I read some of that stuff. That's the stuff with the Ghost Rider who's getting his own miniseries, and he's gonna work on a Venom book, right? With the Marvel Fresh Smell series coming out soon. I swear those guys. House of Ideas. What's happened to you?
Ricky C. Baby Groot lives inside the handle of Stormbreaker.
True. And as the one character we didn't talk about that I told you he is definitely coming back is Vision. It's like, man, he even looks like his John Byrne Vision. He's all white now. Because remember they tore the Soul Gem and the Black Panther's sister was telling everybody, or no, it was Bruce Banner was telling everybody that he doesn't need the Soul Gem because he's got everybody in him, like Tony and
right.
What's his name? The butler. Damn it.
Jarvis,
yeah, and Bruce Banner in him. So he's definitely coming back. I would hope
even though half his skull was ripped open.
No, it was like a little bit. Come on.
Well, you saw the wires and everything in him.
All right. Well, it's not like, they don't have the technology to bring him back. They're in Wakanda.
Okay. Good point. Iron Cardinal thinks everybody that died pre-snap is dead for good. I don't know. I have a feeling Gamora's some stone thing.
Definitely Heimdall and Loki, at least I would like.
I'm pretty sure Loki's dead and Heimdall. Yeah, I think that. And so we think Vision, and I think Gamora's coming back.
All I know is that Valkyrie and Sif better come in on some kind of Asgardianship next movie and help out.
That would be cool to see Sif.
We hadn't seen Sif since Thor 2 or that episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's when I kind of stopped watching S.H.I.E.L.D. That was like season 1 of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Season 1 is when I stopped.
That was not a good show. Oh, dude, one of the best. So there have been millions of memes and GIFs based on Infinity War. One of the best ones I saw was like the showrunners of Iron Fist are happy to learn that Iron Fist also disappeared at the end of Infinity War. So there will no longer be a season 2.
Boy, poor Iron Fist. I'm not even going to give that one a chance. It sounds like it was just awful.
I feel like the actors came in day of, and they learned how to like fight that day. Like they learned how to do martial arts that day. There was no training whatsoever.
I didn't see it because
I watched one episode and I'm like, nope, not for this cat. I am way too old to be wasting my fucking life on this shit. I watched, that was actually I haven't other than Daredevil. And I like some of Punisher. Some of Punisher was good. And I tried to watch Defenders. That was okay. I didn't finish that.
Was talking about Rick Remender's Death or Glory #1. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know anything about it other than it's
gorgeous.
gotten a lot of, it looks really pretty. Matt Miranda thinks Cap's going to sacrifice himself to the Soul Stone. I loved how Rocket was annoying Bucky for his arm. Yeah, that was funny.
That was cool when Bucky picked him up too.
Yeah. And I loved how Thor kept calling him a bunny or a rabbit. Or whatever he called him, Rabbit.
Yeah.
I love Thor. God, I love that guy. Iron Cardinal, I disagree. I think Jane Foster's awesome in the Marvel Comics universe. Cinematic universe, whatever C stands for.
Wait,
that's just me.
Jane Foster? Oh God, yes. Natalie Portman? I love Natalie Portman, man, but her Jane Foster is just, she has no soul. She's like a stripper on day shift. She has no idea where her life went wrong. What am I doing?
We got to isolate that and make sure it makes it into the best of OmniBros. That's hilarious.
I just rewatched those while I was sick. I watched Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, and Thor 2 because I remember those being the worst Marvel movies.
And you rewatched them?
Yep. I do. Give me 5 minutes. Okay. My daughter just came in here and requested that I go out there in 5 minutes and watch an episode of Lost in Space.
Ooh, the new one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really good? I heard it was really good.
It's not bad. It's kind of cheesy, but, I mean, come on, it's Lost in Space. I was expecting cheese.
I want cheesy, but I want high-tech, really fun cheesy.
But the first 2 episodes are directed by Neil Marshall. I love that guy. He's the guy that did The Descent. He did Doomsday. He's a British director, but his whole thing is that he can take like a small budget and make it look like a huge movie. That's why they got him to do a lot of the battle episodes in Game of Thrones, like the Battle Blackwater. He directed that. He's an amazing director. I love that guy.
Well, you know your directors better than I do. I just watch a movie and go, oh. So I don't. I guess that's why I don't like smart comics. I just look at the books.
Iron Cardinal, I wish Proxima Midnight and Corvus Clave would have lived at least for the second movie. So,
are you eating during this broadcast? What the hell? Are you a professional or not? What are you eating anyway?
My kid's candy. I told you I've been on chicken fucking soup for like 4 days because I've been sick.
Well, what kind of candy?
I don't know. Some stuff I got for Easter. Shh, keep it down, man. It's right there. Just don't come in here and be like, "Where's my bag?" I told you not to leave it out. Rats got to it.
Right. Okay, so we have 3 more minutes before you have to be with your daughter.
Yeah. And then I can let you finish it off with our questions and answers and stuff.
No, I will go when you go. I can't answer any questions. I can't answer any questions. I am not.
I knew it. Busted.
I totally have not. I don't even own the soundtrack. And I own the soundtrack to a lot of movies.
Yes, but Infinity War, it was everything I wanted in a comic book movie and more.
And more, exactly.
I left out of that theater completely happy. I remember going in thinking, there's like a 10% chance that this is going to suck. But I just went in there with like, I try to go into these movies with no expectations, because if I go into these movies, even with no expectations, sometimes they just come out as suck, like Green Lantern. Like I went to Green Lantern with no expectations and I still came out angry.
I never saw that either because it got such bad word of mouth.
Dude, I remember seeing the Blu-ray for like $3.99 at Best Buy, and I'm like, you, Best Buy, would have to pay me $4 to get rid of that. I'm not buying that stupid movie. Jimmy Owens. See, Jimmy Owens knows, man. Thank you, Chris. I've been trying to tell this guy. Anyway, you can find me on my channel, Near Mint Condition. My name is Omar. That's it, really. Yeah, Near Mint Condition. We have a new show every Thursday where you can find my charming self. Our latest episode has we always do a blooper reel at the end of our episodes, but the latest episode, my friend who does the editing for this episode decided to make it a one-line or one-take Omar blooper reel, which is where I do the intro or the outro. And I happen to brag about myself because I can do these things in one take, but this particular time, for some reason, I couldn't do it. So there's a lot of cursing. Basically, it's the real me. It's what you get in real life. No filter at all. And we're going to have a new segment on Tuesday because I had to reschedule because I got sick, and then one of my friends, her grandma passed away, so we couldn't do it. So on Tuesday, we're going to start a new segment called Old Reader, New Reader. We're going to
that sounds good.
We're going to read Infinity Gauntlet. I'm going to reread Infinity Gauntlet for like, I haven't read it in 10 years. It's been a while, and they're going to read it for the first time. We're going to talk about it, kind of like a book club. But two of my co-hosts, they're a lot prettier to look at than I am. And on that note, you can also find me on the Facebook group with this fine gentleman, Just Brag.
Yo.
Just the body brag. All right, buddy. One more word from our sponsor.
Okay, that would be InStockTrades.com, where you can get up to 50% off your favorite collected editions free shipping in the United States for orders of $50 or more, loyalty discounts. Omar at the beginning told you they're having an image sale this weekend, 45% off, and that does stack with your loyalty discount, I believe. Bomb-proof packaging and fabulous customer service. That's instocktrades.com. And we will have another promo code next quarter.
Yes,
Whatever.
or they may surprise us and give us another one sometime. So just keep watching. How about that?
Yeah, every quarter we'll get one.
No, Jess, every episode. You tell them every episode, so they watch every episode.
Oh, every episode we'll get one. So please watch every episode.
No, it's every quarter we're supposed to get one. So Jess is right. I'm not going to lie. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and for putting up with us. And hopefully we didn't spoil anything for you guys. Don't forget to write in the notes, Jess, where we talk about spoilers.
Michael Curry already wrote it in there. Thank you, Michael.
Awesome. All right, buddy.
Hang on. You got to let me do my promo. OmniDog's Vault on YouTube and on Instagram. OmniDog_Vault. OmniDogs_Vault.
You're like the Lord of the Rings, man. Return of the King. Like, longest ending ever. All right, buddy. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you guys for joining.
Good night, everybody. We love you. Peace and love. Peace and love.